Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 285 of Optimal Living Advice. Somehow we're already getting a sniff of 300. That's awesome. I'm Greg Audino, your host of the show. So glad to have you with me this Friday before you go out and get wild. And this time we'll be hearing from a listener who, as you will hear, is on the cusp of beginning a long-distance relationship, but feeling a little paralyzed, it seems. She's unsure of what she wants the next step to look like, how to get clarity on both that as well as the source of some fear that she's having. It's a multifaceted question, so let's hear it from her as we dive right in and start optimizing your life. About 5 months ago, I reconnected with an old family friend that lives in Texas. I live in Alabama. We've been on a few dates since then. Each time he comes into town, we'll go out for a drink or dinner. We've started talking on the phone some. This is big for me. I don't like to talk on the phone with many people. And I find myself wondering where things are going. At the same time, I don't want to bring up the question because I know that being in a long-distance relationship is really difficult. And I'm having a hard time determining if I really like this guy or if I'm just enjoying the company for now. He's good-looking, nice, funny, ambitious, all good things. In dating in general, I often find myself overthinking and picking out little things that I don't like about someone, and I have a hard time opening up to people. I'm stuck wondering if I'm afraid of the long distance, if I'm afraid of commitment, or is he just not right? How do you know? Okay, Asker. Thank you for sending this one in and giving us all something to think about. Those questions you ended with, they sure are fierce, aren't they? I'm not sure I can just answer them for you, informed only by the limited interaction between us. But when it comes to answering them for yourself, let's think for a second. First of all, it is okay to not have the answers to these questions. It might be a unique blend of two or all three of your hypotheses. What would concern me more than not having clarity about these things would be if you are using the lack of clarity as an excuse or a buffer to not act and not commit to your feelings as they come up. So, are you too frozen in trying to figure out what's going on underneath to allow this relationship to flow in whatever direction your instincts are pushing you? If you say you overthink a lot in relationships, this would be yet another example of that. And getting too hung up on trying to solve these questions is pretty aligned with not opening up or occupying your space otherwise. Just not giving life to the urges that are existing inside of you. But whether or not that's happening right now, let's check in with what you're feeling beneath the surface so we can get you acting in such a way that will better position you to take this relationship to the next level in an intentional way, not just fizzling out. Whether that next level is, officially boyfriend and girlfriend, officially dissolved, or something in between. The big question that's on my mind right now is, what is happening in this gap? This gap between finding yourself wondering where things are going and deciding not to address that question with him. I really want to know what the feeling is that comes up when you wonder where things are going. What's the first instinct that's being muted so quickly after it tries to speak up? Is it a sense of hope that it can work out in some way and that, enthusiasm? Is it a sense of dread that it might be getting too serious for your liking? Is it the confusion and that you're maybe feeling a little ill-prepared for the relationship to change form in any way? I think that really honing in on what this feeling is that you are resistant to bringing up with him can help you propel this relationship to where it needs to go next. Because it needs to go somewhere, otherwise you wouldn't have sent this question in. And being open about your feelings is going to point you towards where it needs to go. It's going to point any of your relationships to where they need to go. And sometimes being reminded of that is just the push anyone might need to get them over the hump and start opening up to people in a way that they would like to. That's really the first step here. And committing to being open is a prerequisite to committing to him in any type of way. So let's shift our focus towards that because, again, it's going to make the larger questions about where this relationship is going and where your fears are coming from a whole lot clearer. So what would it be like to fill him in on those gut feelings of yours? What if you were to say, I'm feeling excited but afraid of long distance because I've been hurt by it in the past? nervous about what's next for us, but willing to keep taking it day by day, unsure of whether or not this is a good fit. Whatever's coming up. Being forthcoming about what's on your mind is not only a great commitment to make to both of you, but it leads into more honest discussion and helps you get to know one another better. Just like you're showing him a new part of your inner self, this also pulls out a part of his inner self that you probably haven't seen, a portion that shows you what lies beyond those nice attributes that you listed about him. Good looking, nice, funny, and ambitious. These are fine, you're right. But you need to be able to get to know him better in order to get a really strong hold on whether or not this relationship is worth taking to the next level. Because those traits are not enough to base a strong decision on. New conversation needs to be initiated in which you both take it to the next level. You tell him your honest feelings, he responds, and you start to get a better sense of whether or not he checks the real boxes. Sure, he's good looking, nice, funny, and ambitious. But do we share the same values? Do I feel safe with him? Do I want to care for him? Do I want to put him first? Until you start to see him through these lenses, which is of course predicated by talking with him deeply enough that you can get answers to these questions, you'll continue to wonder if you're just afraid or if he really isn't right for you. Because it's hard enough to answer such big questions when you know someone, let alone if you haven't reached a vulnerable enough level that you will speak of what's on your mind, despite knowing that someone could very well get hurt. It's time to go there with him. That's how your connection will mature, and that is how he will establish himself as someone who either does or does not inspire you to confront these fears head on, regardless of whether those fears are rooted in commitment or doing long distance. Because however deep fears like these are, they can be changed, not just through a lot of self-work like you might find in therapy, but when we are motivated by the right person. So we need to do everything we can to learn who these people are and show them who we are. Okay, Asker, I hope my response helped you, and I thank you once more for submitting this question. Look, you've already stepped out of your comfort zone with this guy. Use that momentum. More direct communication is the next step, and I really believe that you're ready for it. And for everyone else out there, I appreciate you listening today, and I appreciate you sending in any questions that might be on your mind. As always, you can email them to me at advice@oldpodcast.com, advice@oldpodcast.com. Get in touch through there. You will certainly hear back from me, and I look forward to talking with you. Going to get out of here for now, though. So enjoy your weekend for those who are listening in real time, and I will talk to you again on Monday. That's where your optimal life awaits.